Only the Bulls, only the Bulls, only the one and only Chicago Bulls.
Doom ba doom doom ba doom 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 ba doom 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 ba doom ba boom ba doom 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 ba.
Who can set the court
Welcome
on
back,
fire?
boys and girls, to another episode of the Running with the Bulls podcast. I'm Adam, and there's Josh. Joshy boy, how are you this fine Tuesday evening?
I'm doing good, man. It's pretty humid in Chicago. 90 degrees, I'd say. Pretty humid, but overall, I mean, it's fine. The weather's good. And much rather have it be 90 and humid than 10 below zero.
Yeah, take the
And I
summer.
know you deal with those days most of the time in the winter.
It's -10 right now. No, it's not. It's also probably closer to 90. But yeah, so today's episode, we're talking Vucevic, we're talking Giddey, we're talking Billy D. Kind of a shorter one. Still kind of like just waiting for things to happen. Let's start with Billy Donovan. Signs an extension, and I've seen mixed reactions from this. What's yours?
I mean, I'm okay with it. Billy Donovan's not a bad coach. He's a Hall of Fame basketball coach.
Yeah.
Those don't come around, very often. That you get to have, a head coach that's in the NBA Hall of Fame, in the Basketball Hall of Fame, that, can coach your team. Billy Donovan did a good job last year with a team that had a lot less talent. He did. Now, they didn't play great defense, and they got exposed in the play-in game. But he did his best with the team that he has. And I think he's going to do the best he can with the team that he has this year. Do I think they can win, a lot of games? I mean, probably not. They're probably not going to win like 45 games. But, they can win anywhere between 37 and 42 games. And, if they had a bad head coach, I don't think they'd win that many games. Because you need a good head coach to get you there. It's just unfortunate that he hasn't had talent.
Like, remember every year with the Bulls, I think literally every year the Bulls were 41 and 41, or maybe they were like 39 and 42 one year. But like you could just bet it was going to be between like 39 to 42 wins every year with Vinny Del Negro. And maybe he had a team because like, look what happened when Thibodeau came in. You know what I mean? And so you have these guys who underperform with a good roster. I think what we've seen with Billy Donovan is overperforming with not very good rosters. I think that like when we talked about that, that second season with Billy Donovan, they finished 46 and 36, pretty solid group. And then just the Lonzo Ball waiting game. And then I think that we hear the outcries from the Bulls fan base about like, hey, we got to pick a direction. We got to pick a direction. They did pick a direction. The Bulls have a direction at least now. It just took them a long time to figure out what to do in a situation where you didn't know if you're going to get your starting star point guard. And I think that's the vision they had for Lonzo Ball, was being a star point guard. So when you look at all the context, yeah, Billy Donovan's got a 49%, just a shade under 49% win percentage in his 5-season coaching the Chicago Bulls. But I think he's done, like you said, he's done a good job with what he's had. And I think he has such a proven track record. His first year as an NBA coach, he had 55 wins. And that team was built to win a championship. So, like, I expect if you give Billy Donovan a good roster, they're going to be good. But I think you could give Phil Jackson this team, and they just wouldn't be that good. Like the Bulls have an average roster. They've had an average roster. And the parts didn't really make sense during the post-Lonzo, Levine DeRozan era. And I think the Bulls are just kind of like starting to recover, but I'm glad that they didn't throw the baby out with the bathwater here, because Billy Donovan was never the problem. So I'm cool with the extension.
No, I mean, if you look at it, Phil Jackson, without, superstars besides Kobe Bryant, in 2 seasons, he went 45 and 37 and 42 and 40 when he didn't, have all the pieces there. And so, Phil does great when he has a lot of talent around him and he makes that talent go over the top. But when he doesn't have that,
how the coaching works in the NBA. The coach can put you over the top. The coach can make you worse. The coach can also make you better. But like, if you give, it's not like they're playing. They can
like,
only
I
have
don't
so
think
much of an
Jim.
impact.
Listen, I love the Thunder. I don't think they're winning a championship if Jim Boylan's the head coach.
Right. Right. And we've seen like the right guy come in at the right time and he takes the team to the next level. Budenholzer was an excellent example of that in Atlanta and again in Milwaukee. And so you can see a guy come in and make his impact. Like you see Pat Riley when he took over for Stan Van Gundy all those years ago. That team won the championship. You know, sometimes a switch needs to be made. But yeah, Billy, he seems to be a good coach for guards. Him and AK seem to all be on the same page as what kind of team they want to build, and they want to play fast, fun basketball. I think Billy's done okay on player development. I think some of the picks have been like hit or miss, but we saw some of those guys starting to come on last year. And Josh Giddey just had the best stretch of his career. Kobe White's gotten to be really like when post Zach LaVine trade, and then we've said it 1,000 times, like after LaVine was out for the rest of the year, the season before this last one, we got to see what we got in Kobe White, but we're seeing some of these young guys develop. And do I think he's going to be Phil Jackson? No. Do I think he's he's a Hall of Fame coach, right?
You don't, like I said, you don't get those very often. So when you have a Hall of Fame coach, you use them to the best of your ability. The problem is the Bulls have not used him to the best of their ability because they haven't put the talent around him. Now, when he had all the talent, they went 29-10, number one in the East. So we know what he can do. We've seen what he can do with a lot of talent. Almost beat the 73-win Golden State Warriors with Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook. Came within one game of doing so. So, you know, it's just I think
an upgrade.
I mean, you're not going to get an upgrade from Billy Donovan. I don't think so. I think that's why they gave him an extension, because they're like, well, who else are we going to hire that's going to be better than that? And I think their answer is nobody.
Yeah, I'm cool with it.
Yeah, I'm fine with it. I have no problem with them giving Billy Donovan an extension. There's nobody out there that's going to be better.
I think he's a good coach, a good NBA coach. He was a better college coach, but there's a long road ahead of him, and I think he will eventually get over that, 500 mark. I think he's better than
they might this year with how poor the East is going to be. It's possible that they will.
You never know. And you know what? I think that actually kind of slides into our next topic pretty nicely, because we talked about how the East is going to be. Let's talk a little Nikola Vucevic, because this guy would be Billy Donovan's starting center in theory next season. So we've been seeing some reports, and before we hit the red button, the red record button here, you and I were both saying that we don't know how much we believe the reports. But Josh, enlighten us. What are the reports?
Well, one from Yahoo Sports said they're going to cut him if they can't trade him. And Mark Stein just said that he doesn't believe that at all. He thinks there's a trade market for Vucevic. How in the world is there not a trade market for a guy who averages 19 points, 18 points, 11 rebounds, 3 assists, shoots 40% from 3, and is one of the better scorers at the center position in the NBA on a very reasonable contract? There's no market for that? I don't believe
Even if you trade him at the deadline.
Now, if the Bulls are the reason that he's not getting traded because they're asking for too much, then that's on the Chicago Bulls. But you can get, if I'm them, you can probably get a role player in 3 seconds.
You're telling, like, if Boston had an opportunity to trade for Nikola Vucevic instead of basically have Bill Wennington as their starting center, or Luke Herringody or Troy Murphy or whoever, Andrew Del Greco,
Bill Waiters,
Chris Mim, it's just
God,
who are they going to? Literally, like, who's their starting center? Like, it's ugly. It's ugly.
There's one good center in there, Dino Raja. It was okay.
Oh gosh, Raja.
That's a
Literally
good
their
day.
center, I
That's a
think,
good day.
is it's the guy who used to be on the Bulls, Luke Cornett, right? He's their starting center.
Luke Cornett is on the Spurs now.
Okay. So who's the Celtics starting center?
Luke Garza, that center.
Gross. That dude's not good enough to be in the league.
Luca Garza is their starting center, I think.
Okay, I think it's actually going to be this Neemias Queta. I'm pulling them up. Number 88. He played a decent amount last year, and he was okay. But, this guy's a late to mid second round pick. You're telling me that if you're the Boston Celtics and you're looking at your depth chart and your front court right now, according to ESPN's depth chart, is Sam Hauser and Neemias Queta. And then you got
Boston is throwing up the white flag for this year, and they're going to try and retool. And they're going to do the best they can with what they have.
If Boston wants to be half good, they should look into him.
I agree, I think they'd hit the second apron if they traded for him.
I suppose. I mean, it's not like he's got a huge contract, but that's a point to be made. Yeah, money does come into play, but what about the Philadelphia 76ers? Going back where it all started, you have these injury concerns with Joel Embiid. Maybe you make something work with them. I don't know. I mean, you got to kind of look into the expiring contracts, but there's people who are going to be in the market one way or another for a steady center. And so I'm not buying the reports because I don't think it makes sense. And it doesn't match the track record for what the front office has done so far. They don't just move off assets. At times we've complained that they have taken too long to move off assets. They're not going to trade an 18-10 walking double-double who's a good passer and just had one of the best three-point shooting seasons of his career. Now, if the Bulls were to get rid of him, I think it would be more likely in a scenario where you mentioned you got some sort of role player and a couple second rounders. And then the Bulls' sole focus is, hey, we're not going to try to chase wins this season. We're going to chase development. And that was the big thing we talked about in the season preview. We said, what's a successful year? And we talked about how the Bulls, we wanted to see these players develop. We wanted to see a good year out of Giddey. We wanted to see development out of Patrick Williams. We wanted to see stuff from Kobe. We wanted to see what we had in Matas. The Bulls did all that. Now they're in a situation where they can say, hey, the East is going to be pretty weak this year. We can compete and probably get into the playoff if that's the route we choose to go. That means keeping Nikola Vucevic, or hey, let's really focus on development and maybe try to be in the lottery. And then you trade Vucevic, and then you give a longer leash to the young guys.
Too. You could also buy him out if you wanted to.
And that would be another route where you are going with a strategy towards just player
I just don't see Jerry Reinsdorf letting them buy him out. I don't think I can remember the last time the Bulls bought a player out besides. Well, they amnestied Boozer, but they didn't have to buy him out, if that makes sense.
Boozer was so bad at the end.
Bad. He was terrible.
He fell off a cliff.
He did. He was like Wile E. Coyote when he falls off a cliff.
Yeah. It was
those episodes with the Roadrunner.
It was ugly. I think that. By the way, did you see Nikola Vucevic in the smoke he was getting with Evan Fournier?
No, I didn't see that.
Go check that out on Twitter. They were exchanging some jabs. I'm gonna pull these up.
Vucevic arguably had his best season as a Chicago Bull this year, and he was 34. I don't know what more you want in the center. He shot 53% from the field, 40% from three, and had his best points per game since his time in Orlando. The only other time he had it with the Chicago Bulls was 2020, 2021. So, I don't know what more you want from the guy, and I don't know what more you would
let him play his game. They weren't allowing Nikola Vucevic to do a lot of the things that I thought they brought him in to do. Especially when you look at what Jokic was doing for the Denver Nuggets when Karnisovas drafted him And not just Jokic, but like some of the same kind of things they were running with Plumlee. Some of the same things, like with Nurkic, a lot more passing from the high post with the center. And we got to see more of that. And Vucevic had some really good passing games, but he was underutilized because the Bulls had a couple of ball dominant wings. And did turn into, especially when things like went south, the Bulls would turn into my turn, your turn with DeRozan and Vucevic, or excuse me, DeRozan and Levine, and Vucevic was the odd man out. And so, what happens when you allow somebody to play to his capabilities and allow to play to the style that's going to be most conducive to him? He plays better.
Yeah, and I think, Vucevic can help a playoff team. Last time he was in the playoffs, he averaged 19 and 12. That's helpful. Before that, he was averaging 28 and 11 in the playoffs. 28 and 11. I mean, he's not going to put up those numbers going forward, but my goodness, if he can put up anywhere close to those numbers, I mean, you're going to say no to that? He can help out a lot of teams. And I just think you're missing out if you're a team that's trying to make the playoffs or trying to make a push in the playoffs and you don't acquire a guy like Vucevic. The Bulls are not going to ask for a lot back.
It's not like he's some sort of all defensive center. He has his shortcomings on that side of the floor. It's been well documented. We've all discussed it. But here's the deal. If you're a team like the Golden State Warriors, like, do you want to start Draymond Green at center?
No, if I'm them, no. You can't.
No. He's your like power forward. But like if you insert Nikola Vucevic onto the Warriors, and who knows, maybe we do eventually see this like Vucevic and Ayodosumu for Kuminga type where that's like the center around a deal. I'm sure some other people would have to get involved one way or another, but that's something that does make sense for both teams. But if you're the Warriors, you're trying to win a championship and you got a old and getting older Steph Curry. You got an old and getting older Draymond Green. You got an old and getting older Jimmy Butler. And you got an old and getting older Buddy Hield. So what are you losing by adding another old and getting older piece? Basically, I mean, look at the Clippers. They're all pretty old. Like, they're trying to win now. They're trying
old,
to
but it
climb.
could work. It could work if the guys stay healthy. It could work.
Sure. And the Warriors won 48 games last year. Like, if you grab Vucevic, you have the best center that they've had in a long time. And all of a sudden, you can be in the mid-50s as wins. And I think that Mike Dunleavy has got to be – I don't know what he thinks he's going to do. Because these negotiations, we've been talking, I feel like it's been for 6 months, about – the rumors surrounding the Golden State Warriors and the Chicago Bulls. And, the Lakers used to be a part of that, and that kind of fell off. It all comes back to the Warriors. It's like the best fit. We'll just see if it ever happens.
It could be the best fit, but I just don't know if, it's going to work out. We'll see who bites at the apple, so to speak. We will see.
We will. Wrapping up the show, our final topic, still just kind of all quiet on the lakefront, if you will. Josh Giddey. And so the latest report is that they're 8 to 10 million apart. I like that the Bulls are not rushing to get a deal done. I would like it to be done before September, but it's a negotiation.
It's a negotiation. I mean, my fear on a scale of 1 to 10 is at like a 3.5. Because if Giddey knows this is his best chance to get paid, and I don't think he wants to test the market because he might find out that he's not worth what he thinks he's worth. I think Giddey's worth 20 to 25. He's not worth 30. Kobe White is worth 20 to 25. He's not worth 30. Cam Thomas is trying to get 30. He's not worth 30. Jonathan Kuminga is trying to get 30. He's not worth 30. These guys are trying to get contracts that were understandable in a league that didn't have a second apron, didn't have a first apron. Now these guys are in an era where free agency is kind of dead to some degree, and it's mostly role players that are getting signed. And they're acting like they deserve these giant contracts. It's just not going to happen.
I mean, look at Cam Thomas wants 30 million. Give me a break.
They offered him 14.
He should have shut up and taken that. Empty calories. I told you I was going to use it on the show.
You did empty calories. It's so great.
But that's who he is.
No, but he is in a lot of ways. Like, there are guys who are empty calories who just, they score a lot, but they're on a bad team and they just score a lot on a bad team. And that's how they are. They're not going to make your team much better.
Your studio gangsters, as you call them.
Yeah, studio gang. Well, that was from Charles Barkley. I got that from Charles Barkley. Shout out Charles Barkley.
Shout out Chuck.
I love Chuck. He was just on Part of My Take. Another great podcast, if you guys want to check that out as well. It was just on Monday. But to get back to it, I think I'm not worried about it. I think they'll get him signed. If you get to September and he's still not signed, then I'd be worried. And if I'm Josh Giddey and they're just standing pat, maybe you do take that qualifying offer and then you leave in free agency. Maybe you do. But I'm not there yet. We still got a ways to go.
So here's something interesting. The Athletic had a report where Jed Katz and Joel Lorenzi pulled 16 NBA executives, all Bulls front office excluded from this. 14 of the 16 suggested an annual average salary between 20 and 25 million. The mean average came out to 22.3 a year. So like you said, between
That's
20
exactly
to 25.
where I was with him. Like 22 and a half to 25 is what I'd pay Giddey. I'm not paying him 30.
And, I think that we're going to wind up at 25.
Probably. And that's fine.
I'm all about it. I'm all about it.
No, that's fine by me. I don't mind that.
Anything over 27 and a half, I'm a little nervous. I'd be okay with 28, but not thrilled about it. But I think what the Bulls need to do is have value everywhere that they possibly can and no bad contracts. Like the Bulls,
they only have one bad contract, and that's Patrick Williams. And other than that, everything's fine.
And that contract could still get better. For those of you listening, Josh made a face. For those of you listening,
see it on the YouTube if you watch the YouTube.
Yeah, watch the YouTube to see the face Josh made.
Face.
Yeah, and but like I said on the last episode, I do think that your best bet right now is to just try to develop Patrick Williams because there clearly isn't a market, and you got him for a lot more years, and he's young enough where he can absolutely still get better. I think that the Bulls actually found something out with Patrick Williams this past year, and I'm going to see if I can find the splits because he was pretty
terrible.
Well, I'm talking about when he was off the bench.
Well, yeah, they have that split. They have that.
Let's see who can find that first. I'm on Basketball Reference here. But off the bench, I think they found something with him.
I just, as much as I want to believe in him, I just, it's very difficult to be confident in what he has. I mean, so off the bench as a reserve, he played 27 games. His offensive rating was terrible. He averaged 8 points a game and 42% from the field and 30% from three.
Oh, it wasn't actually better. It was an anomaly. It was just the broadcasters making me.
You know how much Stacey King loves to do is that? Yeah, that's pretty much what it was. So I can't say with confidence that Patrick Williams coming off the bench is going to help. I think his splits will be better.
For me one more time.
He averaged 8 points a game off the bench, 42, 30, and 60% from the free throw line. When he played over 30 minutes a game, he averaged 44% from the field, 48% from three, and 86% from the line. That's actually pretty good in 12 games. That's actually relatively okay. When he played heavy minutes, he actually played okay. Shot 48% from three when he played heavy minutes.
Oh, okay. So maybe they just got to give him more opportunity.
When he played very little minutes, he averaged 28% from the field and 15% from three. when he played less than 20 minutes a game. So it's tough. I mean, he needs a lot of minutes and he needs that confidence that you have in him to be able to play. If you don't have the confidence and you're not giving him minutes, he struggles. So we'll see.
We will. Any last minute free agency wish list guys that you would like the Bulls to kick the tires on?
I don't think that there really is anybody. I think the roster is complete as it is. I'm fine with the way they're going into the season.
It seems that way.
Yeah, I'm fine with what they have for now.
I think that, there's still like some decent players still available. Like Russ is going to get signed.
Well, yeah,
by
but
somebody.
Do we need Russell Westbrook? No.
No. Malcolm Brogdon, he'll get signed by somebody.
Yeah, he'll get signed, but like I said, does he fit in the Bulls roster plan? No. So if it doesn't fit, the Bulls have what they need.
I wouldn't mind a little Precious Achiuwa. I love me some Precious Achiuwa.
Precious is good. I thought he was on the Knicks.
He was last year.
Oh, he's not on the team anymore? Okay.
No,
He was under contract.
yeah.
They should bring him back. He was solid for them.
He was. I think that's a team that. I'm surprised. I thought he would have helped the Bulls. Maybe could help the Nuggets. Another guy. He'd be a good option for the Warriors. He's too good to not be with anybody. But, well, like we said, it's gonna be a shorter episode. Any other anything else you want to get into?
No, I think that covers everything, man.
That covers everything. Things will get more exciting someday. Let's just leave it here. I think once we get to September, once we get close to September, I want Giddey signed. You said you're at a 3.5? Yeah. I'll meet you there at a 3.5.
Not worried about it. We still got plenty of time.
Plenty of time. I'd rather the Bulls wait it out, make sure they get really good value, than rushing a job and, overpaying.
Right.
So that's where we're at.
Exactly.
We'll keep an ear on the ground for you Bulls fans. Thank you for listening. If you're enjoying the show, give us a friendly rating. Follow us on YouTube. Subscribe wherever you listen to your podcasts. And Patrick Ecstatic on the tunes once again. We'll see you next time, guys. Thanks for listening.
Who can fly through the air? Who can get them off their feet? Who can always snatch a victory from the jaws of defeat? Who can play the toughest defense, shattering the score, get Chicago up and rocking, crying out for more? Only the Bulls, only the Bulls, Chicago Bulls. Only the one and only Chicago Bulls. Ooh, Chicago Bulls. Yeah. Ooh, Chicago Bulls. Ooh, Chicago Bulls. Chicago Bulls.